Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 FM, and our Louisiana Division I football previews continue. And we're just about to wrap up the FBS. Now, obviously, haven't gotten Brian Kelly yet. Still hopeful that that'll happen. But we wrap up our FBS coverage minus Brian Kelly with Sonny Cumbie, the brand new head coach of the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Our first opportunity to chat with Coach. So first of all, Coach, let's start with the transition, making the move. This is obviously your first full-time head coaching gig. You were an interim back at Texas Tech. Kind of give me an idea of what this has been like so far in this first full season.
Well, it's been one of those things where you never know what the day holds, and I think that's why we love doing what we're doing in coaching. And there's always something new that pops up every single day that you don't know is going to happen, and you try to plan as best as you can to be proactive in terms of eliminating problems, but and having good things happen every single day with your players. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's been a lot of work. Our staff has done a really nice job. Got a really good group of coaches that we've gotten here at Louisiana Tech, and they're working extremely hard. And it's been a lot of fun, Patrick. It has. It's been, it's just similar to anything that you do as far as a parent. If you're a parent for the first time, or you're a husband for the first time, or a wife for a first time, and you don't really know what to do until you can read as many books as you want and you can get as much experience as you want, but until you're that you really don't know. And so it's been a great experience so far. The best thing about it right now, Patrick, is we're still undefeated and we haven't been scored on. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, I mean, but conversely, when you're an offensive guy, y'all haven't scored any points yet either, Coach. Are we questioning the offense yet? I mean, come on.
No, we scored a lot of points.
Oh, okay,
we scored a lot of points. Yeah, we hadn't been beat. We scored a lot. Nobody scored on us.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Great.
Perfect. That's nothing wrong with that. Hey, I am curious. You take over for a guy in Skip Holtz who, well loved. Everyone likes the guy. He was there forever. Had a lot of success while he was there. Is that tougher to take over a program from a guy who's had success and who, is well liked, as opposed to, hey, this guy maybe resigned in a scandal or whatever? Is it tougher because there are expectations and you're replacing a guy that was kind of well liked?
Well, I think really just the opposite I've found is from the standpoint of it's anytime you start over or you get somewhere, I think there's a challenge to it in different areas. In terms of earning players' trust, the structure of the program, and really the organization and how everything is set up. And I think, if anything, because of how Coach Holtz ran the program for 9 years, the success that he had over the last 9 years and 7 straight years of going to a bowl game, I think the transition, we've taken over a program that was it was not in shambles by any means.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not a scandal. There's not a large area of dysfunction within this program. I think at times, for whatever reason, there's changes inevitable. And he did a phenomenal job here. And there's a roster in place that has a lot of talent. There's holes to fill, no doubt, but we're trying to do that. And I think I have a ton of respect for Coach Holtz and the staff that they coached here. And I competed against them at TCU during the COVID year. And remembered the anxiety and remembered the fear we had in our preparation, just from the standpoint of knowing the type of talent that's here and how hard they play. And so, if anything, I think we came into a program that was in really pretty good shape from that standpoint, and a ton of respect. And you see what kind of football coach that Coach Holtz is, and the season that he had in the USFL
right.
also.
Yeah, it's funny. You're a Leach disciple, run and shoot guy at Texas Tech. I always laughed because occasionally Holtz would roll out the dead tee, like on an extra point kind of thing. And I'm sure your staffs at TCU probably had to, like, hey, let's take a session or two to work on some of this stuff. You rolling out any wishbone or some dead tee for us? You going to throw us some wrinkles out there, some option stuff?
Well, there's going to be some wrinkles every week. Yeah, I don't know about the wishbone just yet, or the, I played in the wing tee whenever I was in high school, and so we may have to dust off that playbook. And I think things like that, if you're able to execute them in critical situations from a preparation standpoint, I think they put pressure on a defense, and sometimes it takes away a defense's preparation on stopping things that's your bread and butter. And so I think the creativity, we've got a lot of creative minds on our offensive staff, and really look to plug into that each week and really want to keep the defense on their heels from the standpoint of what they have to prepare for and really who they have to prepare for in terms of our personnel.
Sure. Did you run it much in the wing tee? I mean, I know a lot of that can be, misdirection stuff and counters and traps and stuff, but did you do any running? Were you running any option when you were quarterbacking in high school?
Well, Patrick, I don't know if you've ever seen me play.
I have. That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking the question.
I handed the ball off.
Okay.
I handed the ball off, and I walked on at Texas Tech because I knew Mike Leach liked to throw the football, and the quarterbacks didn't have to run.
Okay.
I couldn't run.
Perfect. Well,
So
I knew you weren't a terribly athletic guy when I was watching you in college, but I thought, hey, maybe you were spinning out and running a little naked around the outside, that kind of thing. I don't know.
You know what? We used 10 games of regular season action my senior year to lull the team's defense to sleep, and then the 11th game, I kept a naked bootleg for 19 yards. It took them 15 yards to figure out what happened, and it only took them 4 yards to catch me.
Yeah, no, that's the Peyton Manning fake, right? That's one of my favorites of all time when he went naked in the end zone. Everybody's like, no one thought he would ever run the ball. They didn't even know he could. So, hey, look, you set it up for 10 games. That's patience, brother. That's well done. Talking to Sonny Cumbie, the new head coach of Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. All right, obviously transfer portal is a big deal in college athletics right now. Coming in your first year, and you mentioned, the roster's pretty good. You got a couple of holes to fill here and there. How much are you able to use the transfer portal to just plug some of those individual holes, as opposed to, we talked to Gary Goff down at McNeese, who's kind of having to do a wholesale roster turnover, but the ability to have the portal for you to be able to plug those individual holes that you need?
Well, it's been really. And hopefully after the season, when we reflect back on the additions to our roster, we'll think even greater about the additions through the transfer portal that we've had. But right now, I mean, it's been a huge boost for us, in particular on defense. We had really one corner on scholarship when we got here that had played in a football game, and now we were able to add 3 different corners, 4 different corners through the transfer portal and through recruiting. And so it's been really big and beneficial for us, in particular on defense, just because from a scholarship number, we were low. You like to have 41 guys on scholarship on defense and offense. We had 28 when we got here. And so we were able to add, some key pieces there at linebacker. We were able to add a couple of guys at safety. We were able to add a player that I really feel like that will be out, playing and being a difference maker for us on defense, in the secondary and linebacker and the corners. So it was very beneficial. The other side of it, quarterbacks. We've added 2 quarterbacks to the transfer portal, and you look at it from the standpoint of they're guys that have played behind some really good players and have just needed an opportunity, and hopefully they'll make the most of the opportunity here at Louisiana Tech. And we want to make sure that our guys are taken care of really well, and we know that we're guys come here and they have great seasons, and we got to watch for our roster being poached as well. And we're not naive enough to know that some of our top players, hopefully they'll play and have great years. And then, if that happens, we'll worry about it after that. But the transfer portal is up to this point helped us in terms of our numbers and getting quality depth in here, because kids are really smart. Football players are really smart. I mean, if you got one linebacker in the room, and you can rant, rave, and coach and teach all you want to, but if that one linebacker knows you don't have anybody else to play,
that's true.
He better be a highly motive dude, because if not, he ain't gonna be listening all the time.
No, he knows he's got playing time. Hey, you mentioned quarterback. Have you named a starter? Kind of what's that battle look like?
Matt Downing and Parker McNeil are still competing day in and day out, ups and downs, and really. They've done a nice job this fall camp. It's between those two, and I think we'll probably have a decision here pretty shortly. I think we've got another scrimmage on Saturday and the practice tomorrow, and then you'd like to make a decision and move forward with it. And both of those guys have made it a very difficult decision, and I think both of those guys we can win football games with. And Landry Liddy has had a really good fall camp. He's picked up where he left off in the spring and the summer and developed well. And we've added Jack Turner to our roster as our quarterback as well. And both of those guys have had reps with the threes. Landry's done a very good job, has really developed over the summer. And so those are the 4 guys that are really in it, and the top 2 guys being, Parker and Matt. And we'll make our decision here shortly. And, unfortunately, I haven't had a year but 1 year where we only played 1 guy. So we're going to have all hands on deck, when it comes to that.
You got can any of them not outrun you in a foot race?
Thankfully, they all can outrun me.
Good,
That's a good thing.
Good. Well, I didn't know. Maybe the next Sonny Cumbie is there. He's he can throw for 5,000 yards, but can't run for 10. Maybe that guy's there.
Right. I had negative rushing yards, I think.
Hey, speaking of, you had kind of an interesting college career where you kind of go back up. You get in some mop up duty, and then you go from all right, I threw 60 passes, 56 passes, and then you go to throwing 642 passes. Like, how do you even prepare your arm for that difference in workload from one year to the next?
Well, it's a lot of practice reps. I mean, the way we practice at Texas Tech, and it's not too dissimilar to how we practice here. I mean, you're throwing the ball from the moment you set foot on the field to the end of practice, and so your arm gets accustomed to it. Arm maintenance, and that's where you just bank up so many reps. And at the end of the day, you need game reps. We have so many practice reps that we do, and at the end of the day, a guy needs experience in a game, and that's what, fortunately, I was able to get it and go out and play, have a pretty good senior year. And that's what, I look at with Matt and Parker. I mean, I can't tell you how many practice team reps that these guys have had in this offense and doing it at a high level and performing really well and knowing what's going on. It's just a matter of getting out there in a game and doing it. And each of them have had some game action. Matt started the game in 2020 against Iowa State at TCU, and I think he was 12 for 19, 157 yards and a touchdown in the first half, and played well. And so I anticipate whoever the starting quarterback is to get better with those game reps as they go through the season. And so there's no really value you can place on experience in college football, and in particular quarterback.
Yeah. By the way, don't ever let anyone say you couldn't run the ball. You did run for 1 yard in your junior season. So that's.
Yeah, we had a quarterback sneak.
There you go. Well, perfect. Did you get it? Did you convert it? I mean, was it for like a first down? What were you trying to sneak?
I think it was a first down.
Okay.
I don't know my rushing stats. I don't know if it was a touchdown, but it was probably a first down.
It was not a touchdown. It was you had 6 carries for 1 yard in your junior season, but 52 carries in your senior season, Coach. You were getting after.
Well,
you were practically a factor back at that point.
I'm just glad that PFF wasn't around back then, because my ranking PFF-wise would be pretty low.
Yeah, it would not be great. Hey, you're a young dude, and by the way, you make me feel old, even though I'm only 4 years older than you. You do make me feel old because I distinctly remember you playing in college, and that always makes me feel. We got a kid just signed for LSU whose dad I called his games at Northwestern State. So this is the stuff that I'm starting to feel old now. But you're still a young guy and obviously a young coach. Tell me about what analytics. You just mentioned your PFF stuff. How much are you using analytics in what you're doing versus sort of old school teaching?
No, we definitely will use it. There's they call it the book, CAI Analytics, is really important, and they help you in terms of in-game decisions and just the processing of when to go for it, and and when to punt it, and field goals and all that. And at the end of the day, it's your gut feeling and what is. I think there's some real time factors into it in terms of how you're playing on defense, how you're playing on offense, and the opponent you're playing. And there's PFF is an unbelievable resource in terms of film and in terms of statistics. And at the end of the day, it's still a human game in terms of our players going out and making plays, us as coaches making the best decisions we can before we play, and then also in game to put our guys in position to be successful. And so I think that's what it comes down to. But I think that I would be doing our team a disservice and our program a disservice if I just put my head in the sand and didn't pay any attention to the information. But I think it's also important, what information can I process, what information can our players process that is helpful to them. It doesn't do us any good if we've got a bunch of information in a big binder and nobody knows what it means.
Right.
Nobody can use it to help us win a game.
Yeah.
And so that's where you've got to figure out what helps you win, what can you process in the matter of about 2 seconds and make a decision that'll help your team win. And I think those are the things that you always have to keep in mind when you're factoring in with that stuff. But it's great stuff. It's a great resource, and we definitely will use it.
My show's a lot like that binder. It's 2 hours, and nobody really knows what's in it and what's going on in this show. Nobody has any idea.
Well, you keep them on their toes.
That's right. Hey, we're all about that. Last thing, Coach, the schedule, obviously at Mizzou, at Clemson, and a good Stephen F. Austin team out of the FCS. for the home opener. That's a rough start. Tell me about kind of what you need to see from your team in those games, and then South Alabama on the road before you get into conference play.
Well, our non-conference schedule, I mean, you nailed it. It's a tough one, at Missouri. And Stephen F. Austin's a really good football team that took us down to the wire last year at Texas Tech, and we had to have a fourth down stop, to win the game at the end of the ball game. And then South Alabama's a really good team in the Sun Belt. They've got a great staff there, and then Clemson in the third game. And so what I want to see from our guys every game and every week is not probably indifferent than what most coaches. I want to see our team get better. I want to see our team play really tough. I want to see our team play with a tenacious level of energy and effort, and then I want us to execute really well. And so I think if we do those things, I feel really good about our program, our team, and I think I want to see our guys respond when things don't go our way. I want us to respond as a coaching staff in the right way and lead our players. And so I think that's what you want to identify really early. All right, there's some guys out there that maybe haven't been thrown into the fires of a real game, and how do they respond right off the bat on the road on a Thursday night game against a really good SEC opponent? And are they going to meet the moment, or are they going to take them a little while to get their legs under them? And so we'll find out really quick. That's the thing about that non-conference schedule.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, Coach, I have to ask you one more thing. This is a personal thing. Do you get many Cumbie references because of your last name?
You know what? I used to in college.
Really?
I used to, but yeah, that I think people just kind of forget about what a great character that Cumbie was, and they haven't really brought it on lately. So I do not get as many as you would think.
Okay, well, if you do something wrong, Coach, and someone yells "Cumbie, damn it," just understand where that's coming from. Obviously, no.
Well, I've had that yelled at me before.
Okay.
Much worse.
Oh well,
and it'll
true.
happen again.
That's true. That's true.
Again.
No,
it might happen today at this staff meeting I'm about to walk into.
I hope not. Tell you're the boss in the staff meeting now. You tell them they have to act right when you get in there.
Well, they might not say it, but I know they think it. I can read it on their face.
There you go. Hey, Coach, absolute pleasure getting to finally meet you and chat with you. Best of luck through the preseason camp. Let's stay injury-free, and best of luck when that season starts at Mizzou.
Hey, thanks a lot, Patrick. I appreciate you guys having me on and look forward to visiting with you.
All right. Sonny Cumbie, head coach of the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs.